work where oftentimes you come across an employee or a team member and you're like faced with a very tight deadline or a very critical issue and you relied on this person and they just let you down and you're just like so annoyed like why did this happen, why isn't this person giving me the answers that I'm looking for, why is this person how could they not, how could they get this wrong, right? Or maybe you're trying to address a client inquiry and it's a huge inquiry because the client is a very big client of yours and something's terribly gone wrong and you're dealing with someone who you think might be the reason why this has happened. Or perhaps you are working in an organization where you come across people who are just not up to the standard where you expect them to be, and you're frustrated and you're trying to figure out like what can I do to get these people to meet my expectations. Hi, if you're watching this Facebook Live the first time, my name is Fahim Karim, and I'm an employee engagement expert. And I work with companies that are faith and value based. And I create a safe container where everybody gets to vocalize their opinions and ideas safely. Your managers get to listen and lead. Employees feel part of the team. And your whole company continues to grow and innovate. And you know, as someone who's worked in the corporate space for 22 years, and not just any space, let's give you an idea. Like some of the transactions I used to deal with were billions of dollars, right? So one transaction itself for one particular client could be like $300 million. And sometimes if something went wrong, I have a lot of pressure as a manager, as a somebody who's in charge of de-escalating or taking care of escalated issues. I used to sometimes get quite frustrated, and early in my career, sometimes I used to get quite annoyed with some of the people I would come across, and disappointed, and upset with like the service level that I'm getting, and why is that, right? But I had to figure out what was actually going on, and then everything changed, right? So that's what I want to talk about today: how to deal with team members that annoy you, right? And that was one of the topic I talked about in this week's vlog, and I'm going to go into that in deeper dive today. So before we go more deeper into this, I'd love to hear from you. Where are you signing in from? What are some of the things that you're dealing with in your organization that annoys you? Or maybe you see people, your manager or your leaders get so frustrated easily about small matters. And what are some of the things, and how are you addressing that, or how is your leadership addressing that? I'd love to hear that from you. So I want to leave you with, actually, rather than making a long lecture, I want to just give you three tips, very easy to implement, on how to deal with members that are annoying. Number one, are you really annoyed? Think about it. Are you really annoyed, or is that the only vocabulary you and I have? What do I mean by that? You see, according to Mark Brackett, a person who is the founder and the head of Yale's Center for Emotional Intelligence, he describes a process where, as human beings, sometimes we don't have enough vocabulary or the right vocabulary to describe what I mean. I'll give you a simple example. Imagine I'm sitting with two of my hypothetical children. I do have children, but I'm not going to use the real names. So let's say I'm sitting with two of them, and one of them, as I'm explaining my plans for this weekend, has this facial expression. And I might be saying, "Hey, why are you upset? Why are you angry? What's going on?" So the other person, the other child who's older than this child, says, "Dad, he or she is not upset." Really? She's not, no, she's not angry, or he's not angry. Why is that? Well, but they look like they're angry. He or she looks like she's angry or he's angry. No, he or she is actually disappointed. Why is this person disappointed? Well, because dad, what he or she had planned is to play with Legos. And now you're saying you're going to go to the park. Yeah, to you, that's fun, but that wasn't part of his or her plan. And so now you're coming in without giving him or her any early notice. You're saying that you're going to go to the park, and that's is causing a disappointment in that person. So what I want to share with you first is that try to understand if you're really annoyed or if you're disappointed. Most of the time, we're really actually disappointed, not annoyed. We wanted something, we expected something, but we got something else. That's not annoying. That's disappointment, right? So we need to increase the vocabulary of the type of emotion we're having. Number one. Number two, learn to understand from a place of compassion, right? And repeat back what you just heard. Because sometimes we hear things and we convert that message in our own mind based on our preconceived notions or previous life experience, right? So, and like the person might have said something, but I was already expecting, oh, this person is always not efficient, doesn't do things the right way. So, of course, they're going to say this thing. But they didn't say that. They said something else. So to avoid that is to repeat back to the person, like, let me make sure I understood you right. This is what I think I am understanding you're saying. Is that really what happened? And the person will say, no, 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 that's not what I said. This is you. I'm sorry, you misunderstood me. We don't have an issue, but we're actually letting you know that this happened, but it's addressed. Everything is okay. Oh, there's no reason for me to get upset. No, it's perfectly all right. Okay, great. So learn to understand by repeating back to the person what you and I heard, because chances are sometimes we hear things selectively, and we miss a lot of it. Number three, ask them what is realistic. Like, so when you're assigning a task to one of your team members, somebody who's reporting to you, ask him or her to get their buy-in rather than imposing. You know what? This has to happen in 3 months. This project has to be implemented in 3 months. And you're going around the table, you're going around the team members, and you're like imposing it on them. Well, guess what? That's not the right way of doing it. I love to give you a simple analogy. This is a beautiful couplet written by Samuel Butler, and it goes like this: He that complies against his will, he that complies against his will is of his opinion still, is of his own opinion still, right? He that complies against his will is of his own opinion still. What does that mean? Well, that means is we have to get the buy-in by asking them genuinely, is this really realistic? I want it done in 3 months, but maybe that's not realistic based on all the other projects that's going on. Maybe we need to reshuffle some of the projects that are not necessary for our most important project that needs to happen in the next 3 months, right? But we need to get their buy-in rather than imposing it on them, right? So those are the three things I wanted to share. Number one, are you really annoyed? Right? Chances are we're not, we're just disappointed. Number two, learn to understand from a place of compassion rather than straight going into a conclusion. Oh, that's it, this person is blah 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 based on our previous experience with other people from other organizations. This is what we typically see and this is what I'm expecting. This No, learn to understand and repeat back. Let me make sure I understood you right. Is this what you're saying to me? Did I understand that right? And by going through that process itself, we'll already lower some of our the stress level that we're experiencing. They say that if you just give yourself 90 seconds before you respond, you've already calmed down a lot more. You're breathing, take a short breath, calm down, give yourself 90 seconds before you blur out some statements. You're just going to ruin the beautiful relationship you just built over the last 2 years, and you might just take 20 seconds to ruin all of it. Lastly, ask them what is realistic. Rather than imposing on our team members, our employees, any particular deadline, let's get their buy in. Is this realistic? If it is not, and if it is something we are really trying to get to a particular time span, we need to get it done, can we reprioritize other things? Is there other things that they need help with? Is there any questions I can answer as a leader? Is there any support? What does support from me look like? Right? So those are some of the things. So if you like what you have heard today, go ahead and leave your comments below. I would love to hear from you. And also, I would love to hear from you. What are some of the things that you're facing in your organization? Also, more importantly, if you found this information beneficial, please enlighten someone, tag someone, let them see this video as well so that they can also benefit and bring joy to their employees. I love to make organizations where people love to come to work. I love to work with leaders where people love to work with them. I just love that stuff. So if you like what you heard, please enlighten someone, tag someone, share it with someone so they can also benefit. God willing, till we meet next time, tread softly, speak kindly, and love unconditionally.